Hey guys, welcome to RC Video Reviews. It's Friday, August 11th, and it is hot outside. It is so hot, you can lose a few pounds just by walking outside. It's that hot. It's unbelievable. I walked outside today and I was sweating within a minute. The humidity is like 107 degrees real feel humidity. Some knucklehead said 50% humidity, and I have to just strongly disagree with that. It was way more than that. To me, at least it felt that way. I want to say it was 150% humidity. I think they forgot 100 in there somewhere. It's nuts, man. It is so hot in Florida right now. And what's worse, we're going to be going out in that business tomorrow and Sunday. We're going to have a thing at the field. We got some people coming in from out of town. Some people are in from out of town. We're going to be doing our little fly day tomorrow at the field, and there's going to be some flying there on Sunday, and we're going to go brave that heat, man. We're going to get out there and drink a lot of water, a lot of Gatorade, and try and have a good time, maybe even get some video going. So it's going to be something else, I'll tell you that. I saw a lot of chatter going on in the comments before I got in, man. You guys were active tonight. It looks like Andrew got in first. How you doing? D. Griffiths is here from Texas. Hello, D. Griffiths, new patron. He's up there at the top. Welcome, Dan. FL Engineer, he's one of the participants tomorrow. He'll be at the field tomorrow. Won't be on the PJ, but see in the AM, hanging with the family. Well, that's good. You got to do the family stuff. Freddie Fourth, man, you're slowing down. Fast Freddie, I think it's time to change the nickname to just kind of middle of the road Freddie at this point, because you don't have that same trigger finger you used to have, my friend. It's being taken over. Can I get a channels here? I think he popped out as well. Well, let's see. A lot of chit chat. Patrick Henry, hello. Just a quick question for you. How many planes do you have stuck in a tree? Right now I have none, but I know they're out there. Robert's here from Canada. How you doing, Robert? Good to see you, my friend. Keith Salisbury is here from Rhode Island. Hi, Keith. Hello, hello. And I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Keith is here from Massachusetts as well. And let's see, who else do we have here? Patrick Henry, I got Dave. Dave is here in 11th. How you doing, Dave? Good to see you. Midwest RC, we're watching him tonight. He was the puppet master last week. I'm not going to fall for that business this week. We're going to keep an eye on him. So, Tim, how you doing, man? Glad you can make it. The David Knutz is here from the great state of Texas. David, hello. Gordon Goff is here. Hello. Rambo Flying Ken. Zeb is here. How you doing, Zeb? Bill is here. Good evening, guys. How you doing, Bill? Philip Jang is here. Philip from Australia is here. Let's see, Hobie. I saw Drone Pilot in there somewhere. Maybe I skipped over him, but I saw you, Elias. I saw you in there. Joseph Delot. I'm in Louisiana. It's a beast. Man, I bet it's just as hot there, too. Let's see. Turning on the big TV, working on my new build. Yeah, someone's got a helicopter. And then Rodney Lorimore made it. How you doing, Rodney? Glad you could make it. Okay, so that's a hello to everybody. If you sign in, make sure you say hello in the chat so we know who's out there. And if you guys don't mind hitting the like button on the way in, that'd be awesome. And we've got some fun stuff to go over tonight. We're going to be, I don't want to call it a rant, but we're going to have a talk. And then I've got some things to show you. So we'll get going with the weekend review. And first off, I don't know, man, if you guys didn't see the short with Freddie doing the tiptoe stand with his OMP M2 Evo, man, that was just hilarious. He had me laughing with that. He gets a helicopter up on one stand, tilts it over, and I'm backing away at this point because, like, man, if those blades hit the deck, it's going to come at me and probably stab me in the eye or something ridiculous like that. So I saw him doing that. I started backing away. I'm like, whoa, whoa. And then not only does he get it tilted up on one leg, then he sets his transmitter on the ground and walks away from it. It was pretty funny. I was impressed. He got me. That was very cool, Fred. Thanks for the short on that one, man. That was cool. So I listed that as one of the videos, even though it was just a short, but it was hilarious, man. Very good stuff. And then I did the Extreme Flight Extra 260. I'll tell you what, man. Extreme Flight, I don't even know what to say about these guys. It's a review channel, and part of the gig on a review channel is that you want to give a point of view and you want to point out the good and the not so good. You got to point out the things that you want to look out for, right? I mean, that's what a review channel is about. It's about finding the flaws, because if you have a review channel that says, this is awesome, everybody buy it. This is awesome, everybody buy this. This is awesome, everybody buy that. Then who's going to believe anything you have to say? I mean, you have to find things that are not quite right, or that you at least want to look out for, or, just be aware of going in, so you go in eyes wide open. I mean, that's the point, right? And the extreme flight guys, I'm just saying, I'm not sponsored. They don't pay me. I'm not on the team. They haven't helped me out monetarily one penny. And man, I got to tell you, I just don't even know what to say about their stuff anymore. It's just really good. The Extra 260, it's flawless. I think the only gripe that I really have about that plane, and I didn't put it in the videos. We'll talk amongst friends here, but I didn't put it in the videos, and that's the only gripe I had was it didn't have the servo quick disconnects. And that's just a gripe. That's not a flaw. It's just a gripe. I wish it had servo quick disconnects, but it's not like, there's a problem using the plane without them. That's not a thing. So the plane, oh my gosh. I mean, the visibility, the neutral stance in the air, the characteristics it's had, I was doing, I did some crankshafts on the second flight. Fred's like, I didn't see you do a crankshaft last time, John. I'm like, all right, I'll try it. So I did it, and second try, I got it. And then the hovering, I'm learning to hover. I'm not very good at it, right? I'm learning, I'm practicing. I work on it. But that plane, boy, the first time I tried to hover with it, it just kind of went poof and locked into its spot. I was just blown away. And I don't want to gush over the plane, but gosh, I just don't know, man. I said in the thumbnail video for that one, I'm done on the first look. And the reason I said that was because what do you critique? You guys come here to get information about, first look and what works, what doesn't work. So what do you say? I don't even know what to say. It's a very good airplane. I'll tell you that. I've so far, I've enjoyed it. And I can tell you, it will definitely be going out to the field tomorrow. I can't wait to get it out and just spend some more time with it. It was just very enjoyable model. Next up was the 2 years of refinement, how I set up a plane on EdgeTX 2.9. And, I thought about that one, and I have the benefit with Discord and the questions and everything that goes on the channel of seeing the comments and the types of questions people have. I also get the luxury and the pleasure of interacting with some of the developers who every now and then throw a little gem out, and I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. And so over time, I've worked very hard on my model configurations to get them to a point where they're fully functional, but not so complex that it's not something you'd be willing to do on any model. And I'm also getting to the point with most of these configurations, I can recall them from scratch. So it doesn't matter. If I don't have it on a model, I can easily go in and go, okay, I'll just add these 3 things and I'm done. So that's what that video was all about. And if you didn't see that one, make sure you watch it, because honestly, it's a good video to use as a starting point for your own journey on your radio. And I'd say that I've had the opportunity to collect a lot of information over the years and very practical implementations on EdgeTX over the last couple of years. And it's paid off for me. So I've been lucky that way. And that video really was just meant to show you guys, what the deal is and how you can, utilize a template, create some common configuration elements that you want to use on all your models. And the models don't have to be planes. They could be quads or helicopters. It doesn't matter. But the idea was, to give you a baseline with some cool logic techniques that I've learned and picked up that really are very beneficial in the EdgeTX firmware for just about any type of setup, whether it's fixed wing or not. So hopefully you watch that one, but that was my goal with that video, was just to kind of put that out there. And it is a collection, it's taken me time to kind of refine it down to this level, and I like it. And it does show up on all my radios or on all my models rather. And sometimes if it's not on a model, I'll actually sit there at the field and put that stuff in. So there's that. Hopefully you guys benefit from that one. And by the way, I kind of meant to put it in the video and I forgot, but the YAML file for that template is in the Discord in the EdgeTX channel. I did put that information in the description. So if you read the description, good for you. And if you didn't read the description, now's your chance. But that template is in the EdgeTX channel on our Discord. So if you want to pull that down and use mine as a baseline for your own work, then obviously go ahead and do that. So anyway, yeah, the 2 years of refinement, that was pretty cool. And then of course, third video, well, kind of like 3.5 if you count the short, was the PilotJam. So the PilotJam tonight, obviously. And I got news for you guys. We're going to make this one kind of quick because I'm trying to get a plane together and we're flying tomorrow morning. So we're not going to have a real long one tonight. Don't even say it, Fred. Don't you, Fred, do not even say it. Anyway, it's going to be a short pilot jam tonight, and we're going to get up and down and get this one wrapped up. So anyway, I'm glad you guys found the video useful, and that wraps up the week in review. So I will check the comments real quick, and then we're going to get started with some material. Hobie says, smash the like button. Glad you can make it, Hobie. Hobie's in the area. I saw him today, and he picked up some stuff, and I look forward to flying with him and the kids tomorrow. It's going to be a great day. I look forward to having a lot of fun. I can't wait to do it. Let's see. Drone pilot. Yep, Elias, there he is. I knew I saw you in there. I don't know how I missed you earlier, Elias, but anyway, welcome. Let's see. Bam Drones, Michael Belshi. Hello, everyone. How you doing, Bam Drones or Michael? Fast Freddy gave a thumbs up. Buttermilk, it was cool. Freddy, I enjoyed it. Okay. How the hover was kind of impressive. Oh, hopefully you're talking about the 260. Yeah, I thought so. I was happy. I was pleased with myself, like a little Cheshire cat, no doubt. Shane says that was a great video. Thanks, Shane. I appreciate that. Very helpful, Zeb says. All right. I think that's it for the comments. All right, let's get moving with some material. So the first thing on the agenda I want to talk about is quality control. And I want to be crystal clear about something because, I put the video out on the Express LRS thing and it rubs some people the wrong way, but I want to offer a little extra clarification. And that's that I don't blame Radio Master. I don't blame Express LRS. And honestly, I don't even really blame the chip manufacturer because in order for us to have UART communications, they have to have a transmit pin, and that's the way it works. So the problem is that we got some data put on pin 2, and I think the real issue probably is down to the servo because based on the comments and some of the conversations I have subsequent, the servo is a thing that has to look at that data and ignore it. And it didn't. So the Theta servo, it saw the data and went into program mode, but that data wasn't really for it. And that's an area that has to be concerned. So I wanted to mention that first because this segment is on quality control, but I didn't really want it to be a reference to the video on Express LRS and what we saw at the field with that Channel 2 business. That really wasn't what this segment's about. Because frankly, when it comes to quality control, again, it's not an Express LRS thing. It's not a Radio Master thing. It's not a chip thing. It's not even a comms thing. It's really a software thing on the servo that was the recipient of the data that has to be smarter and say, nope, I'm ignoring that. That's not actually a programming sequence, so I'll ignore that. And I just wanted to offer that little bit of a clarification and then move on to the actual topic of quality control. And I can't believe I put it in my desk. I'm going to switch over to the big camera. And I told you guys that these little B6 Neos, I really want to like them. I want to like them because the form factor works for me for my box. These actually fit perfectly in my box. They've got a 200 watt power capability. They charge up to 6S. They take up to 28 volts of input, and they've got a PD input right there. And aside from the silly colors, the gray and black, which I now have gray and black, I really want these to work. And SkyRC has this history of being fairly accurate. Okay. So the problem is that I've now had 5 of these, and out of the 5, I only have 3 that have been without issue. 2 of them have had problems. One of them, it's one of the orange. I have 3 of the orange and blues, and I have 2 of the gray and silvers. Okay. The reason I bought the gray and silvers is because I can't stand this color and I want the gray and silvers in my box. Okay. Call me whatever names you want, but that's what I want. So I bought the gray and silvers from Race Day Quads. I put them in the box, took them to the field. First day of using them at the field, and one of the fans, when I plugged it in, it was so grindy, it's almost unusable. And it sounds terrible. So not only is it grindy, I'm concerned the fan is not even being really effective. So I opened up an RMA with Race Day Quads, and they said, sure, send it back. And that's in the mail heading back to Race Day Quads. So that's one. The other one, it was maybe its second day at the field, and I plugged into the balance port and I got the cell error thing. And what I thought about at the moment was, okay, out of 5, I have 3 that work, so that's not great. That's not a good scenario, right? 3/5 success rate, 2/3 failure rate. That's not good. That's not a good outcome. Sorry, 2/5 failure rate, not 2/3, 2/5. So, when I talk about quality control, this is the thing that I wanted to say. And that is that I'm concerned in the hobby right now that we may be seeing a race to the bottom. You know, they gotta compete. They gotta put chargers out at a point, and they have to compete, right? And that's understood. But what concerns me is that I'm concerned that they're trying to pursue prices that are so low that we're seeing failures that we shouldn't see. You know, if you were to ask me, hey, John, would you rather pay $35 and have a 2/5 failure rate, or would you rather pay $40 and have a 1/9 failure rate? My answer would simply easily be, well, I'd rather pay the $40 and have 1 out of 9 fail. And it's not just the B6 Neos. I don't intend, I'm not trying to pick on them, right? Because we see issues throughout the hobby. It's an imperfect world. But I can say having 2 different failures is not cool. But since we're talking about chargers, let's talk about some of the other issues we've seen. And part of the reason I'm still on this journey, finding the ideal small charger for my field box. The last set of chargers I had, ISDT Q6 lights, they work great in the field box. They fit in there perfectly. They looked really sharp, nice blackout. But you know what they had a problem with? Navigation, and they had this issue where connected to a parallel board, I would get this abnormal termination for no freaking reason. If I take the same battery and plug it in here, it worked. If I plug it into the parallel board, it failed. Why? That's a problem either in the hardware or the software that you're using, and that's what I mean about QC. It's time for the manufacturers, and this is my call out to the manufacturers, is to step it up a little bit. I don't want to see software errors where, I get abnormal connections for no good reason. There's no mechanical reason for that, especially if I can take the same battery, plug it in and go, or change the battery to a different one, plug it into the parallel board, and then it works. That's a problem in software. Something's not right? The software development effort has to improve. Okay. So now keep in mind, I'm talking about commercial. I'm not talking about open source. I don't mess with open source. Those are volunteers. They're giving us their stuff for free. You don't get to complain. All you get to do is help and tell them, hey, here's what I see. That's all you get to do. Commercial is a very different story. So that's basically my thing on quality control. I just wanted to spend a minute on that tonight to talk about it and make a call out to manufacturers to say, hey, you know what? If you have to spend another $2 on fans or another $1 on the fan to make sure we get fans that work and that survive infant mortality, I'd be all for that. Charge another $1, $2, $3 on your product so I don't have to worry about the fan crapping out on me the first day I use it at the field, because now you're consuming my time. Now I've got to go print something. I've got to put it in an envelope. I've got to take it to the post office, right? Now that's all costing me time and money, and I don't like it. So I'm going to give these chargers one more shot. I told you, I'd tell you what I'd learned about them. That's what I know so far. I do have an RMA in with Race Day quads for the silver and gray one. Hopefully it comes back, and hopefully I can get on with my life. But so far, it's not looking great for these chargers. We'll see what happens over time. I'm going to give them one more crack. All right, so that's the B6 Neo. That's my update on those. I told you I would do it. I told you I'd let you know as we spent time on them. And I got to tell you, man, I'm a little concerned. I really hope that they can pull it out in the end, but I just don't know if it's going to happen. All right, I'll check the comments real quick. The hover was kind of impressive. Got that. Let's see. Good day. Hello. My wife loves her new earrings. Oh, David, thanks, man. I appreciate that. David bought some. He won the freebies, and he actually bought some at the store. So thank you, David. And if you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, there's a link in the description to Mrs. RCVR's Etsy store. I'm trying to help the missus out, getting her Etsy store going. So if you guys are cool and want to help, help me, help my wife, or buy something nice for your girl, even if you don't want to help me, check out the link in the description. Buy some earrings for your wife. They're out there. They're kind of reasonably priced, I think, and they're kind of cool. So I'm David. I'm glad to hear the missus likes her new earrings. I'm very happy to hear that. All right, let's see. H-Speed Jeff says, happy Friday. Yep, hit the like button on the way in. How about the other 17? Yeah, hit the like button, guys. That'd be awesome if you could do that. Robert says, here's one for you, John. I'm in sandblasting and painting a 12-foot round, 40-foot long steel stainless tank because it's rusting so bad. Stainless steel tank with rust, huh? I think that's not supposed to happen, is it? I don't know. I'm not a metallurgist, but I'm just saying. It doesn't sound like it's supposed to. All right, that's it for the QC segment. Let's move on to something else. Curves. I got something to share with you guys tonight. Let's talk a little bit about curves. And I'm not talking about the feminine type of curves. So, Freddie, watch it. I'm watching you. I'm watching you. So let's go. We're going to go into, I think we're going to go into the workspace for this one. And here's what I've got. I've got an A3 Super 4 powered up, and connected to an Express LRS receiver. And what I want to show you guys is if you look right here where it says angle. Yeah, let me make a quick little change because I'm just going to revert this back to the defaults because I was in here messing around, of course, right? So I'm going to go in here and just revert this back to my defaults. We're going to edit this thing, and I'm just going to flip this. We'll do min, and we'll do max. And this brings me to my starting point. Okay. So if you look at the bottom here, right here where it says gyro off, and then you look at my mode switch, the way I have this set up is the way I like my radio. And let me bring the big camera in so you can see the big camera real quick so you get a good look at the radio. I put my mode switch here, and when it's down, I don't want any interference from the gyro. When it's in the middle position, I want a little bit of interference from the gyro, and that's stabilize mode. And then when I put it in the up position, I want a lot of interference from the gyro, and that's angle mode. Okay. So those are the three modes that I use in the way I set my radio up. Now, whether you like that or not, it's not material. That's just the way I like it. Now, what I wanted to do is show you a little bit of an implementation opportunity with curves, because I get questions about how to set up gyros, how to set up landing gear all the time. And there are a couple of different things that you can do. Okay. And I thought curves is one really cool way you can do stuff. So if we look at the curves on this radio right now, if I assign nothing, I'm going to take the curve completely off, and we're going to look at yes, I had to go reach for my pointer. Don't judge me. Okay. If we look at the output graph right here on this radio, and we see that my switch is all the way down, what we're outputting in this case is 2012 US. Okay. I know that's small, but all you got to see is the output is going to this side. Now, when I move that switch to the middle, we're putting out 1500 US. EdgeTX reads that as 0. And then when I put it all the way up, we're putting out 988 US, and EdgeTX reads that at -100. Maybe I should have just left it on the big screen for a minute. All right, so, whoops, what happened? We got to get out of there. Okay, switch is all the way up. We are at 988, and EdgeTX interprets that as -100. The switch is in the middle. That is 1500 US, and EdgeTX represents that as 0%. And then all the way down, we are 2012, and that is represented as 100% on EdgeTX. Okay, so let's go back to the workspace where you can see the gyro output. So in my case, this is the way I want it. I want the gyro off with the switch down. I want stabilize mode with the switch in the mid position, and I want angle mode with the switch in the up position. Okay, and that's how I have it set up now. Fortunately, on the A3 Super 4, you can control what happens in the software based on each position. So it just so happens to work out. This is the way I set it up: angle, normal, off. And that's kind of reverse from the way they think about it. Now, if you're in a gyro or flight computer or anything else, flaps, landing gear, spoilerons, anything else where you need to massage the output, I'm going to show you how to do that with the curve. Now, keep in mind, look at the screen, gyro off, switch down, okay? Angle mode, switch up, all right? So keep that in mind. Now we're going to mess around with the curve. So I'm going to bring the big camera up and let you see the curve. All I'm going to do is apply a curve, and I call this curve test, T-E-S-T. And when I apply that curve, you can see that nothing happened to my outputs. They're still doing the same exact thing, okay? Same exact thing. And what happens if we look at that curve, we can see that the first position is -100. The last position is 100. And actually, you could do this with 2 points. So I'll do that with 2 points. Now I have a 2-point curve. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip my curve. I'm just going to flip it. I'm going to go like this, okay? Watch what happens. So I'm at -100 on this one. And all I'm going to do is flip that. And then on this one, on this field, on this field, I'm going to flip it again. I'm going to flip that one again. So now all I've done is flip my curve. Now let's go back to the screen where you can see what happened with the gyro. Now, if you look at the gyro, my switch is up and the gyro is off. That's reversed. Okay. So all we did was we used a curve and we flipped our outputs. That's all we did here. Okay. So now if I move that switch to the middle position, there's no change. It's still normal because 0, 0 is still the mid position, even though we flip the curve. That origin, that middle spot stays the same. So we flip the curve, the 0, 0 spot in the middle stayed on 0, 0. Okay. Now, if I bring my stick or my switch down, you can see I'm in angle mode, which to me is backwards. That is backwards. I don't like that. Okay. So one way that you can manipulate your outputs is with curves. You can manipulate them with curves. Now let's go back and look at another way to manipulate them. If I wanted to, I could say, let's go back to a 3-point curve. Let's do a 3-point curve. And what I'm going to say on my 3-point curve is, what if I just want on my gyro the two positions to be the same, and I can't configure the gyro, right? I can't configure it, but I don't want to shut it off. So I'm going to have my two positions be the same exact thing. All you have to do is go into your curve, change your middle position to the max. And now that curve, this output is going to be the same in the first position and the second position. Okay, so let's look at the gyro and see what it does. Right now we're in angle mode, which means we're all the way down here. I'm going to put the switch in the middle position, and notice it went to gyro off. You see how that went to gyro off in the middle position? And then if I push it up, it's still in gyro off. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm using a curve to manipulate the outputs. Okay, that's all that's happening here. So I wanted to show that to you guys because curves can be used to change your outputs as well. So if you look at a gyro and you say, well, how do I make the gyro be on the mode that I want based on my switch position? One way you can do that is with curves. You can come in with curves and say, yeah, I'm just going to, for a 3-position gyro, I want the first position to be this one. So when I put it down, I want it to be in angle mode. And then when I put it in the mid position, I want it to be gyro off. And then when I put it up, I also want it to be in angle mode. You see what happened there? Now we're going from angle to off, gyro off to angle. So you can make it do whatever you want depending on how you utilize your curve. I hope that makes sense. And that's one example I wanted to show you. Now, the initial demonstration I did, I said, well, what happens if I just invert the curve, right? So now we're back to normal. And if you look at my gyro on the left, the switch is down right here. It's down and the gyro is off. Okay. Now I'm going to put the switch in the mid position. That's normal. I'm going to turn my volume down so it stops talking over me. And now I'm going to push the switch up, and that's an angle mode. And you can even see the LEDs on the gyro changing colors as well. Okay. So red is off, blue is normal, and purple blinking. No, it's not blinking. That's the camera. It's a solid purple LED or pink LED. That is angle mode. Okay. So that's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is you can simply flip the weight. So if I flip the weight right here and just invert that, notice the color change to red. So that's another way you can do it. Now I'm going to bring the switch all the way down. We're back in angle mode. I'm going to put the switch in the middle. We are in normal mode. I'm going to put the switch all the way to the top. We're in gyro off. That is the same thing as taking your curve and flipping it, because instead of using a curve to manipulate it, all we've done is invert the weight, which effectively does the same thing. So if I flip it back, now we're back to the normal mode. Okay. There's one other way I'm going to show you how to do this. Of course, you can do it in inputs. No, there's two ways I'm going to show you how to do it. Of course, you can do it in inputs. I think everyone knows that, but you can also do it in outputs. So if I come into outputs and look for my mode, which I think is channel 8, and we edit that, and I say, look at my color, right? Switches up, it's pink. So I'm going to invert it. And when I do that, now it's back to red. Okay, so we've inverted it again. Now I can move this switch down. That's gyro off, or normal mode rather. And then down is angle. And then if I push it all the way up, we're back into gyro off. That's not the way I like my gyro. I'm going to uninvert it. Now I'm all the way up and I'm in angle mode. There we go. Mid position is normal and down is gyro off. Okay, so that's another way you can change your weights. Here's a third method that I'm going to show you that's actually kind of cool. Let's just try it out. We're going to back out of outputs altogether. And this is something you could use if you have a gyro where you need, say you don't know what the PPM pulse width is, or it's not exactly on a boundary like 988, 1500, and 2000, for example. So say that's your problem. You can go into special functions and use an override just like we do with the throttle cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a special function 13. I'm going to put my switch in the down position, SC. No, let's do up. We'll do up first. And I'm going to override channel 8. You guys see where I'm going with this? We're going to override channel 8 with a value of, we'll call it -100, and we enable it. Okay, so now when the SC switches in the up position, it goes into the pink mode. That's angle mode, and you can see that on the gyro. That's angled. Now, if I say, no, I don't want that to be the pink one, I want that to be a different color, I can go and change this to a different value. Let's just call it the default, which is 0. Now we're in normal mode. Okay, all that's done, that's just done with an override. If I say, no, I don't want the up position to be normal, I want it to be off, then you can just hit max, and now it's off. Okay, so you can use overrides as well. Instead of using a curve or changing your weight, you can use overrides as well. So there's a lot of different ways. The point of the matter is there's lots of different ways you can change the output on these radios, right? Lots of different ways you can do it. Special functions is kind of like an override. It doesn't really matter what the radio wants. If you turn this switch on, that's what the radio gets. It's an override. So you can use that as well as a technique to make your gyros or your landing gear or your flaps or anything else work the way you want to, just with a simple override. And it's very programmatic that way. It's very definite that way, but it's one way you can help figure out what's going on your radio. Just use overrides. Okay. So the moral of the story, and the reason I wanted to show you this to you guys, is because there are a lot of different ways that you can take control of your radio. A lot of different ways you can do it. And you'll hear people, some people say inputs, some people say mixes, some people say outputs, some like to invert the weights, some use overrides, some use curves. All of those methods can change the way the radio operates. The real trick is playing with it. Get in there and try it out yourself, mess around with it and learn what works for you. And you'll have a great success creating configurations that work happily for you. Okay. So that's it on the curves. I just wanted to cover that because every time I do a radio setup video, people will come in and say, can you explain how to do this? Or can you explain how to do that? And I thought it would be really nice on the PilotJam to give you guys some different tools you can use to manipulate outcomes on your radio. Okay, that's that. All right, next up is August 12th and 13th. Hey, how about that? That's tomorrow and Sunday. Just want to remind you guys, if you're in the area, we are going to be at the field, Lark's RC Club, on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be there. And we're going to be having fun. We're going to be flying. We're going to be drinking gallons of water at a time. And we're probably going to be all losing a lot of weight because it's going to be hot. So if you're in the area and you'd like to join us, feel free to come. Just remember one thing. You have to have an AMA membership, and it has to be current. And you have to bring your card with you. So no card that's current for AMA, no flying. Not my rules, just the way it is. All right. So, but if you're in the area and you'd like to come, that'd be great. All right. I'm going to check comments real quick. Then we're going to move on. Robert says 41 watching, 26 likes. Thank you, Robert, for being on the like whip. Appreciate that. Hobie says, for the new guys, please think about joining John on Patreon. Everything goes back into the channel. That is true. It's a little $3 a month. Thanks, Hobie. And that's a great segue to remind me to say thanks to all my patrons. I do appreciate you guys. Thanks for offering to open up your wallets and help me with the channel. And, I don't have them unwrapped, so I'm not going to bother trying to do that on a live stream. But I got a package from PCBWay today with circuit boards, and they're custom. So stand by. It's coming. It's going to happen. It's pretty cool. But anyway, that's how I do this stuff. So if you guys are willing to help, patreon.com/RC Video Reviews, $3 a month. I appreciate the help, all the help I can get. Certainly welcome to the new guys. And for those of you who've been around for a while, I really appreciate you as well. Thank you very much. Okay. So that is that. The rest of it looks like chit chat. Robert says we're getting close to 30K. Yes, we are. We are getting close to 30K. I think we are going to see that number in the next week or so, a week to two. We are 29.7. So yeah, it's coming up pretty quick. 30K is right around the corner. Brum says, have fun tomorrow. Thank you, Brum. I think we will. It's probably going to be, it's going to be hot. We are going to suffer. That's the way it is. The little D came in. Robert, I don't know how to react to that. So I shall not react to that. I'll just, I'm gonna let that one slide, Robert. See what I did there? Okay. Let's see. The little D came in. Okay. I'm not going to touch it. I'm walking away. I'm walking away. This is John walking away. All right, let's see. That's August 12th, 13th. We covered that. Oh, Q&A. All right. Q&A. If you guys haven't been around before, I don't know where I put my Q&A window. I'm going to have to dig it back out again. I'm waiting for it from Robert here, but that's okay. Let me just pop the Q&A window up and we're going to start talking. If you guys haven't been around for long, one thing about the Q&A you probably want to understand is that, you know, on the channel, people ask for help. And, you know, I like to try and capture the questions that I think are kind of relevant for a broad group, right? That's the idea. So for that reason, I like to do this little Q&A segment. And in the Q&A segment, I just cover stuff that that I think is relevant for a lot of people. That's all. So that's what we're going to do now. And the very first question we're going to touch on came from Frozen N. He said, I have a question. At 37 minutes or so, you talk about inverting your outputs. Is there a reason you don't do that for your arm switch instead of setting it to -100 in the mixer? See what I mean? This is, he caught me because I said, I like to invert my stuff in outputs. Although in the radio, and I'll bring up the big camera too, because let's just have a little fun with it. Let's bring up the big camera. And if we look at the radio in my mix line for my arm switch, there it is. There it is again. It is -100. Can you guys see that? -100. So his question to me was, wait, why did you put -100 in your mixer instead of leaving it at 100, which is that, and then changing it or inverting it in your outputs? So if I go to the outputs on channel 5, I could invert it. And doesn't that give me the same exact outcome? Let's take a look at the module and see. I'll click System, Express LRS, and right now you can see Express LRS is not armed and my throttle lock is active. That's my throttle lock right there. So what happens if I flip that switch away? There it is, it's armed. So that was a good catch. That's somebody who's paying attention, and he's not wrong. He's 100% accurate. There really is no good reason to do it. I think, and my answer to him on why I did it that way is because I historically have viewed things like arming or locking or unlocking the throttle as a local phenomenon, meaning it doesn't leave the radio. And when I think about leaving the radio, I think about outputs. And I think that's why I've always just changed it in the mixer. That's why. There's no good answer, but as we demonstrated earlier with the curves video, there's lots of different ways that you can get things done on EdgeTX. And he rightly called me out on my BS because I got on the video and said, hey, if you're going to invert stuff, you should do it in outputs. And he said, well, how come you didn't? And so good catch. But that was probably my mental gymnastics on why I didn't. It's not an excuse, but the reality is it doesn't really matter in any practical sense. Right? I think it's a best practice maybe to put it on the outputs, but practically speaking, the way I do it, my switch is armed and my receiver is armed every single time. So it does work, but I don't know. In order to be consistent, I think the right answer is to put it in the outputs. So, Frozen N, in the spirit of eating my own dog food, I shall endeavor to make sure from this day forward, I put my Express LRS arm weight inversion in outputs instead of the mixer. So that's me eating my own dog food right there. Okay. Good catch, man. I like it when people pay attention to the material that closely. That tells me they're watching. Grayback 1857 says, hi, really super as always. Might be worth mentioning that reversing the output. See, there's a theme tonight, isn't there? Reversing the output on the throttle does not reverse the direction of the prop. No, it does not. The only thing that will do is, and I think he figured it out pretty quick. Who knows what that'll do? Let's assume we're armed and I've gone into my radio settings and I've inverted my throttle. Who knows what that will do? Will that reverse your motor? Anybody? Bueller? I'll give it a second. I'm going to check comments while I give you guys a chance to answer. So Freddie says an AMA membership can be verified on the website. I know, but I'm not going to be the one doing it on the website, dude. Freddie says custom. Remind me to bring my personal fan on Sunday. Yeah, definitely bring a fan, man. Bring some ice water too. I'm going to bring a cooler full of water and ice. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot, man. All right, I'm not seeing any answers pile in, so I guess you guys are not sure, or no one wants to pony up and be the risky one. It does not reverse your throttle. What it will do is reverse your stick. So motor, yeah, Hobie got it. If you reverse your throttle, this becomes full throttle. For the rest of us that we turn our throttle off going like that, if you invert your throttle, that makes this full throttle, and that's throttle off. That is not how you reverse your motor. If you want to reverse your motor, you switch 2 of the 3 leads connecting your ESC to the motor. Okay? Yeah, David says a smashed airplane into the wall. That's right. Or some cut up fingers. Cut up fingers, that'll do it. That definitely does not reverse your motor. If you need to reverse your motor, just take 2 here. I happen to have an ESC sitting right here. Take 2 of them. It doesn't matter which 2. It could be these two, these 2, these 2. It doesn't matter. These 2. Take whatever 2 you want and just switch them. So disconnect them, switch them, plug them back in. That's how you reverse your motor. Okay? So Gordon Goff says, yep, cut off your fingers. Damn straight. It will cut off your fingers. Don't make that mistake. Figured it'd be a good idea to turn all that stuff off if I'm not using it. Last thing I need to do is create a short circuit. Okay. Anyway, that was a good question, and definitely a safety related question. I thought good to cover. So Grayback 1857, thanks for leaving the comment, and a good call out. Yes, do not try and reverse your motor by changing or inverting the weight. That's not good. Hobie hit the tip jar for $9.99. Thanks, Hobie. I appreciate that. Pizza money, huh? Okay. I got you. I'm picking it up. Patrick Henry says reverse throttle might send your plane across the room. Yeah, if you reverse the direction of your motor, it could, unless it was already backing up. You know, that's a possibility. I've done that. By the way, another little safety tip since we're on the subject: stop screwing around with your motor and with your prop on the plane. Don't do that either. Just take the prop off, and you'll be much better off in the long run. Ask me how I know. Take the prop off. It's better. It's better that way. Safer. Now, in that sense, I'm not your dad. Do whatever you want to do, but I'm just telling you, safer to do it without the prop. David Canute says that's a 3-phase AC coming out of the ESC. Yep, that is. And yeah, simple enough to reverse it. So, okay, next up is, I'm not going to try it. Jay Schrager 9. How about that? I got it. One guy, bam. I got it. That was pretty cool. Where's the blackboard? Nope. Hold on a second. I got Jay Schrager 9 right out of the gate. That's pretty good. I thought that was pretty good. Your videos have been very helpful, but I do have a question, of course. I'm setting up a plane that has dual servos for elevator with no Y, as well as no Y for ailerons. Elevator with no Y for ailerons. Is there a video to help with that? Thanks in advance. The easy answer is, you guys, listen, all of you guys that are here on the Pilot Jam, you tend to be the ones closest to the channel. So, and I think a lot of you already know the answer. But in case you don't, I wanted to give you guys, that's the wrong scene. I wanted to give you guys a quick answer on this, just so we're all on the same page here. It's really important on these radios to understand. Let me zoom in a little. It's very important on EdgeTX to understand 3 screens. To me, they are the most important screens on the radio. Okay. Screen 1 is inputs. And the reason for that is because that's where you connect your stick to the software. That's where you introduce the stick to EdgeTX. You say, hey, this stick, I'm going to call that aileron and AIL, and I want that connected to my aileron input or my aileron device. And you're creating what I call an abstraction layer. You're linking a physical layer to the software layer via inputs. So inputs is the abstraction layer. And now you've defined a thing called ailerons that from here on out in the radio, anytime you reference this software element, you're talking about what happens when you move this stick. Okay. So input's very important. The mixer, I think, is probably one of the most important screens on the radio. And it's also probably one of the most misunderstood. And here's the deal. If you have 2 ailerons, and this model has 2 ailerons, I've got my starboard aileron here. That's on channel 1. What channel 1 does is on the mixer, it is linking the radio's output to either a PWM pin 1 or channel 1 inside a serial stream. That serial stream could be CRSF, it could be SBus. But that's what we've effectively done here is we've said, I want this stick linked through my input that I've defined and created an input called AIL. Pay attention to this little icon right here. That icon is super important because that icon right there, that input icon matches the inputs, okay? So that's saying this is my input aileron definition. I want that assigned to channel 1. That's either PWM1 or serial channel 1 on SBus or CRSF, okay? And I want a weight assigned to that of 100%. So from here on forward, whenever I move this, that movement is going to be output on channel 1, whether it's PWM or serial. Now, for a second aileron, it's as simple as coming down and creating another channel. In my case, I use channel 6. So channel 6 is my other aileron. I think it's my port aileron. So in this case, I've also said, hey, I want this stick linked to channel 6. So when I move this, I want it output on channel 6 as well. So now what happens, if we look at our model map, right, our outputs monitor, we have channel 1 and channel 6 for ailerons. So watch what happens when I move. You see how they both go to 2012 and 2012? There's number 1, there's number 1, and there's number 6. Now, also pay attention to the fact that if you have 2 ailerons going output based on 2 different channels, you probably have to invert one of them. So the good idea in that front is to go in your output screen, find the channel, the secondary channel, in my case, channel 6. We're going to edit this and we're going to hit invert. And now if we go back to our channel monitor, what we'll see is we're going to see 3 of them going one direction, 1 going the other. The 3 that are going one direction will be the output in mix for one of the ailerons. That's number 1. And the thing that will go in the same direction as those on channel 6 will be the mixer, but the output is inverted. You see that little arrow? Iconography on EdgeTX is so important. You see this little icon right there? That tells you channel 6 has been inverted in outputs. So now watch what happens. I'm going to move the stick one direction. We have 3 of them going in one direction. We have channel number 1 on the starboard aileron right here, that one. The outputs, they're going in the same direction. So on this channel, the stick and the outputs go in the same direction. On channel 6, the stick or the mixer is going this way. It matches this one. So the mixer sees the input come in the same way, sends it in the same direction. But the output said, hey, man, when he goes that way, we're going to invert and we're going to send the output out this way. That's how you invert it. So that's how you would set up normally, how you'd set up 2 ailerons on discrete channels on EdgeTX, okay? You create an input, you link your aileron to the stick, and you define that as an input. And then in your mixer, you connect that input to the 2 channels you're interested in my case, starboard aileron, and in this one, it would be port aileron. And then in your outputs, you're probably going to need to invert one of them. It might be 1, it might be 6. I don't know yet. I'll have to see it on the plane, but you probably have to invert one of them. Okay. And you can do that with all kinds of devices, flaps, spoilerons, you know, whatever. If you have dual channel, you have the ability to kind of massage the outputs based on what you have going on. Okay. So good question, Jay Schrager 9. I hope that helps. Let's see what is next. All right, this is question number 4, Julian Dever 1. Julian Dever 1. Okay, got this plane today. Notice the prop shaft has a slight angle. Is this normal? The shaft itself is straight. That's a good question. I know a lot of you guys know the answer, but you know, I'm just going to get through it real quick. Yes, it is normal for a tractor prop to be offset down and to the right. Now, the reason for that, and it's a trick that I learned quite a long time ago, and that is that when you have a motor that's got a thrust line, so imagine the prop shaft being the thrust line, that thrust line should point toward the CG. And the reason you do that is because when you manipulate power, when you increase power, if your thrust line is pointed at your CG, then you don't get as much pitch manipulation or pitch tendency when you apply power. Okay. So that's why the thrust line is aimed down on a tractor because, or the prop is aimed down on a tractor because that aims the thrust line toward the CG on the plane. So that's why you aim it down and then you aim it to the right to offset some of the prop tendencies around slipstreaming, which is the wind blowing across the fuselage, and some other factors like P factor. It helps reduce things like P factor. Okay, so it is normal on a tractor plane for the prop to be angled down to the right. That's normal. And for a pusher prop, it's also very normal to see those aiming down, but normally they go straight back. They don't aim left or right because they don't suffer from that same slipstreaming problem that you get on a tractor prop, which is blowing its airstream over the fuselage. Okay. All right. So that's that. Good question. And, you know, I like questions like that because, you know, obviously it's somebody that's new to the hobby and he's looking at it going, wait a minute, that motor looks crooked. And he's not wrong. It is. All right, Vinny Bag of Donuts says, I'm trying to get this as my first plane. Seems like it's sold out everywhere while the RTF is anyway. So this is, again, kind of a beginner question, but I kind of like this one because while, you know, FMS does a great job selling a nice RTF package, Radio Master just put out the Pocket. And the Pocket, it's got Express LRS. It's like $65. What I would recommend rather than an RTF is buy the PMP, put your own receiver in it, and buy a pocket radio. And that gives you a really nice runway, as it were, no pun intended, gives you a really nice runway to migrate from the ready to fly space into more of the plug and play / ARF space. So again, I don't want to like downplay the sales on ready to fly, and it's a decent enough little radio, but let's be honest, man, the ready to fly radio that they're selling with that model does not really equate to the same radio that you get with a Radio Master Pocket. It's not even close. So I would take the Radio Master Pocket any day of the week over that ready to fly radio because it's computerized, because it's got EdgeTX, because it's got Express LRS. Now, the only advantage to me in the ready to fly space is if you are really new to this stuff and you don't have anyone to help you and you don't know how to say bind a receiver and you don't know how to install a receiver, then maybe a ready to fly option might be able to help get you in the air a little quicker. But if you're that new and you really don't understand it to that level, I would strongly advise you to get over to a field and ask somebody at an AMA field for some help. It's one thing the guys at the AMA fields are always really good at doing. It's helping people out that are new. Okay. So that would be my advice there. If you can't buy the RTF, fine. Get yourself a plug and play, get a Radio Master Pocket, Express LRS, get yourself some Express LRS receivers, and you'll be set up for some growth that you won't have if you buy the ready to fly version of the model. Okay. All right. Number 6, Tech Freak Go-Go. That's a Nick. He says, does the Boxer have the BLE joystick mode option available in Express LRS version? Yes. You guys know about that, right? The only real reason I brought that one in, I think a lot of you guys know about it, but in case you don't, you guys are aware that on Express LRS, you've actually got a BLE joystick, Bluetooth joystick, right? You know about that, right? Press System, press Express LRS, and you can scroll down to, well, it takes a second. It's not touch. I'm so used to touch. You see that option right there? It says BLE joystick right there. If you turn that on and click on that, it puts your Express LRS into Bluetooth mode, and you can now pair that with your computer. Let me bring that up. Let me just show you what it looks like. Bluetooth. So we're going to go over to the workspace, and there, we don't need this sticking out like that, like a sore thumb. Okay. So there's the Bluetooth configuration on Windows, and you can say, see, this one says connected. It's because I've already paired it. I don't have to pair it. But if it were new, you could hit add device and click Bluetooth and pair it, and it'll show up there. But since I've already paired mine, it's right here. And then what you can do is use it as a joystick. So if I run the Windows joystick configurator, and you can do that by hitting your start key in Windows and just typing the word joy, and this should pop up. So I'll hit, oops, not advanced. I'll hit properties. And of course, when I hit properties, that window is over there. Now you can see as I move my stick around, see that? That's a Bluetooth joystick on Express LRS. Isn't that cool? That's cool, right? My throttle didn't work because I had it locked. You see that? So you can use a Bluetooth pairing between your radio and your computer on your joystick. I hope, if you didn't know that, hopefully you learned something new tonight. And maybe that's worth patreon.com/RC Video Reviews for $3 a month. Buy me a coffee. or some merch, by the way. I've got merch. You guys don't buy nearly enough merch. I've got some cool stuff, man. Get a t-shirt. I got a t-shirt that says, I'm an RC pilot. If I duck, you should run. I mean, why are you guys all buying that? I don't understand. That's a cool shirt. I need to go buy a couple more of those for myself. Anyway, there you go. That's how you do Bluetooth on Express LRS. Kind of cool. I think it's, you know, it's another one of those reasons I just love Express LRS, because I mean, come on, man. What other community can you get that kind of extensibility on RF technology, right? I mean, come on. That's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. All right. That's it. That's it for that question. We'll go back to the Blackboard. And next up is Tech Freak GoGo. He asked if it's in the Boxer. The answer is yes. It's in the Boxer as well. All right. Morawaki. He says, can you set up fail-safe in the RX? And the answer is yes. You do that. Let me move this out so it doesn't jake up the graphics. The answer to that question is yes. You can set up fail-safe in the RX. You do it in the web UI. There's a fail-safe option. You just bring up the web UI, click on it, and I'm not going to do it on the live stream because I'm not going to fall for that whole 2.4 gigahertz thing blowing up my live stream connection. But the answer to the question is yes. You bring up the web UI. You can go in and set your fail-safe options in the web UI per channel on a per channel basis. So you can set your throttle to 0, your mode switch for your gyro to angle mode, or, you know, return to home if you got it, whatever. Spin Launch Glide says the BLE joystick's a new one for me. That's cool. Yeah, there you go. Good. Glad. Hey, anytime someone learns something, I'm a happy guy. So there we go. Yeah, you can set up a fail-safe and store it in the RX. Merch, haha. Yes, just awesome. I need some shirts to give out with targets on them. There you go. Don't offer my big guy size. Oh, well, we can fix that, Midwest RC. Just tell me what you need, buddy. I'll get you hooked up. I think I got 2XL on there, man, and that's pretty good. That's a pretty good size shirt. All right, let's see. There's coffee mugs too. There's stickers gone flying. I mean, who doesn't need a gone flying sticker on the back of the car, right? All right, let's see. We're back to question number 1. That's it for the Q&A. We got through it. How about that? Not bad. Not bad. Good questions this week, guys. I like those kinds of questions, man. They're well thought out. And that's the kind of stuff I can sink my think. That's the kind of stuff I can sink my teeth into because they're on point. You know, they're point questions. They're not, hey, let me write a book and have you write back a book. That's not the way it works. So if you do want to do that, get on Discord. Get on Discord. The best place to be. All right, that is it for the Q&A, and next up is the coming up. And hey, we're right about an hour, so it's actually not too short. Still fully packed Pilot Jam. So here is what's coming up. The first one is, I don't know, the eagle-eyed people in the group, especially those of you who are not on Discord, you are probably, hopefully, watching the video and saw the model that I had on the radio. I noticed nobody called it out. Nobody called it out. I know some of you know about it, but no one called it out. Anyway, there's a new airplane in the works right now. And, this is the T-Motor 116 amp ESC. I want to tell you guys something about T-Motor. I know that a lot of people have used T-Motors in quads, and I know that they've been out there in fixed wing for a little while. I don't know how long. I can tell you that I had my first experience with a T-Motor motor on a bigger airplane last weekend when I flew the 260. I have had T-Motors on smaller planes, and I have had T-Motors on quads. But I can tell you right now that I went out when I bought the plane that goes around this ESC. I went to the store and I looked online, and I got to tell you, the T-Motor motor was about the same price as my Sunny Sky V3s. And you know I love those Sunny Sky V3s. And I'll also tell you that this came in a nice little combo kit where the only thing I've got to install or solder, Empire guys, sorry, I'm watching it. I'm watching my mouth. I have to solder on my XT90, and that's fine by me. I don't mind that. I'd rather do that myself anyway, to be honest with you. And the bullets are already on, and all I've got to do now is mount this in. And on the motor itself, the bullets are on, and it looks like a high quality device, 116 amps for this ESC. The motor looks good. I can tell you the motor on the 67-inch pulled like a freight train, and they sell it in a combo. You can even get this nice little prop. And I'm going to tell you right now, man, this is a T-Motor prop. It says, can I get this display right way? It says carbon hybrid tech. It is not carbon fiber. However, man, this thing is a weapon. It's a weapon. I got to put you guys on mute just a minute here. Sorry, had that scratch building up in the throat. I knew it was going to come out. I may as well take control of the situation. Anyway, they call this the X-Carbon prop T-motor. This is a very, very rigid prop. I would say probably not as rigid as the carbon fiber prop I put on the 67-inch, but I am very anxious to give this a try. I got to tell you, man, I'm really anxious to give this a try. It looks like a very nice propeller. And their ESC, 116 amps, got the fan, and I'm kind of interested in what's going on here. And the reason I say that is because if Extreme Flight is going to sell combo packs, you don't need to just buy them for Extreme Flight planes. You know what I'm saying? Is this thing on? Hello? Is this thing on? You get what you picking up what I'm laying down? Go look at the combos. Now, that said, the combos, Extreme Flight is smart. They do tend to price these a little bit cheaper when you buy them with the plane. Just throwing that out there so you know, okay? They do tend to go a little bit cheaper if you buy them with the plane. But what I can say about the motor, the prop, and the ESC combo that I got is that they definitely are going to work well together. You know that. You're not going to be worrying about what timing should I use. Is this ESC going to work with that motor? You don't have those issues. They're going to work well together. And I can tell you that the T-motor on the 67-inch 260 pulled like an absolute freight train. I have no complaints about the power development on that one. So I'm really anxious to try this one out. And the main reason is because I like options. You know, if they're out or if the Sunny Sky is out, you get an option with the T-motor. And I can say based on my initial observations, it looks like they're pricing them very competitively. So head on over to Extreme Flight. Oh, and by the way, it's not just T-motor. They also have a Skywing power combo as well. So I kind of like what I'm seeing there, man, where you can buy it all together. You can get the servos, the ESC, the prop, the motor all together. And, you know, I know some of you are going to go, well, that's a little spendy. But, you know, when you start working on these types of planes, it's nice to have those power options available to you. So just take a look. Kind of interesting stuff. So what's coming up is this is going into a Yak. This is a Yak 54, which is a 60-inch plane. I'm going to work really hard tonight to try and get it finished. I'm getting kind of close actually already. So we'll try and get that one out at the field and get a maiden done. So in addition to the August 12th, 13th fly-in that we've got with all the guys that are coming in, we'll also try and get a maiden done on the Yak to give you guys another video to watch. And of course, the 260 is going to be out there as well. And then the other thing that I told you about last week is I have these little chips and I got my boards from PCBWay. So I should have now everything I need to solder, sorry, Empire, to solder up my little science fair experiment here, which I haven't revealed to you what it is yet, but I think I have all the hardware to do it. Just got here today. I'm looking forward to that. Can't wait to show that to you guys because I think you're going to be like, okay, that's cool. That's neat. But it is a little bit of a science experiment, just to be fair, a little bit of a science experiment. And that is about all I've got on the radar at this point in time in terms of coming up. So keep an eye out on the channel. We are going to have material on the way, and I expect it'll be a good time. You know, Dave's going to be around. Fred's going to be around. Shane, the kids are going to be around. I think we're going to have a lot of material as long as we don't all pass out from a stroke. You don't see a video by Monday morning, send someone looking for us because we're probably laying at the field passed out. All right, guys, that wraps up the Pilot Jam. I'm going to check comments, and we're going to wrap this video up. You like Sunny Sky? You like T-motors? I think so. I've been impressed so far. My experience has been good. But, you know, to be fair to Sunny Sky, though, David, I've got a long history with Sunny Sky on some very nice aircraft, and they've never let me down. So T-motors kind of got to earn that. I can tell you so far we're off to a good start. We're off to a good start. Steven AZ66 says, thanks for sharing. You're welcome. Little one-on-one. Love T-motor on my drones. Some of the best motors. Yeah, they are good on drones. I know that. David says, told you. If you like Sunny Sky, you like T-motors. Yep, got that. Robert says, say it. The Mersha way sounds like you have marbles in your mouth when you say it the UK way. Say it the America way. Solder. We're going to solder this stuff. America. Right, Robert? That's what you're looking for? Say it like an American. All right. Freddie says, looks like the same composite material as OMP rotors. Yeah, man, I don't know, dude. This is like, when we get together, we'll whack someone in the forehead and see what we'll let them give it a grade. See how we'll give it a hardness. We'll give it a hardness grade. So maybe we'll get a APC, we'll get a wood one out, we'll get the carbon one out, maybe a carbon fiber, and we'll just whack. We'll pick someone and whack them and see which one is the hardest. We'll look for volunteers for that, of course. Fred says, see you Sunday, Shane. Yeah, man, we'll see you Sunday. It's nice they've done the math. Yeah, that's another thing, David, right, is they're putting together combos where they're going to work well. And on that note, the guys at Extreme Flight, they really test this stuff, man. So they really are going to look at it hard, and they're going to put combos together that work well. So yeah. H-Speed Jeff says, thanks. Great show. John, you're welcome, my friend. Glad you liked it. David Canute says, don't get me wrong. I still love. So yeah, me too. To me, it's about options, right? If we have options, especially if you're trying to get something done and they don't have it, and you don't know when they're going to be back in stock, it's nice to be able to have an alternative that you can rely on. So absolutely agree. Keith says, have fun this weekend. Stay hydrated. Amen, brother. We have got to do the drinking, and I'm not talking about the booze. I'm talking about the water and the Gatorade. You're going to have to be pounding that stuff and keeping hydrated because it is going to be hot, man. Hot, hot, hot. But I'm looking forward to it. I know we're going to have a good time. All right, guys, that wraps up the Pilot Jam. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I look forward to getting together with you again next Friday. Don't forget, leave a like. It really is important. And a comment afterwards. That doesn't hurt either. Doesn't hurt my feelings. Check out the Mrs. Etsy store if you want to get something nice for your girl. Look at that hover, man. Look at that. Locked in, baby. Locked in. Woohoo! Yeah, America. That was my first or second time trying. It was really good, man. I'm really impressed with the hovering on that plane. And it's better than me, that for damn sure. So it makes me look good. That's all I can say. Anyway, don't forget to check out the Etsy store for the misses if you want to buy something for your girl. Of course, if you need an RCVR 2, those are out there as well. These have been going like crazy. Get yourself an RCVR 2. Check out the merch store. You guys know what to do. That's all I've got for tonight. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Get out there and fly something. I'm going to go fly something. I'm going to suffer when I do. So you guys get your butts out there and go fly something. Have a great weekend, boys. Take care.